Welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to discuss about the list. So before we start, I'm using the Google Colab here, which is an open source for Python computing. You can also use Jupyter Notebook, which are kind of similar, or use PyCharm. But the reason why I use Google Colab is, or you can use Jupyter Notebook, is that you can run code line by line, and that is very easy for explanation purpose. But I'm going to make another video and show you how you can connect to Google Colab, which is very good because if you want to use the GPU for machine learning, it's the best way to start. So I will make another video and show you how to use Google Colab. But in the meantime, if you are watching this video, I assume that you're interested on using Python for something. So I strongly encourage you that to subscribe to this channel because I'll be posting content in machine learning as well, in artificial intelligence and really advanced concept. But for now, I will be covering some key concepts of Python because Python is the main language that we use for machine learning or artificial intelligence. So I want you to get to know the basic concept and how it works. And also I'll be posting some video also in so I will make sure I cover all the concepts that we involve Python, basic Python, like function, method, dictionary, and so on. And then I will make another video on the data structure in general, another video on how you call it, another video on how you call it, one second, PyTorch. So another video on PyTorch, and show you how to manipulate the tensor, which is very used to design a machine learning system. So I will make another video on PyTorch. So I strongly encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you benefit for this, and also post a lot of content in mathematics and in general. If you are interested in mathematics, you feel free to check out some of my videos that I have there. And if you have a key area you want me to post video on, I can always post video. Also in statistics, I also have some knowledge in statistics. So if I have some question that I can always answer if a lot of people are interested on. So please post your question below and subscribe to the channel so we can continue to grow together. So I'm going to start. So what is the list? So a list is just a simple type of data structure that is used to store information. So you can use the list to store a different type of information or a mixture. So if you see here, you have what you call here list number. So I basically use this list number to store integers. So in this case, 3, 9, 6, 8, and 30. For name lists, I use name list to store string. So a string is a chain of characters. In this case, Modest is a string, David is a string, Alex is a string, Sandy is a string, right? So in this name, I used that list to store just the strings. So those are type of information that are stored there. So for the student info list, what I did is I made a mixture of type of information. So in this case, we have some string and we have some numbers, right? So for example, Modest is a name, is a string, right? And 10 is maybe a grade, and mathematics and physics is a subject. So I can use the list to store information about a student. So that's one example. So this is how you instantiate a list and assign to that some information. So that's my list. And then I can print the list to visualize just using the print command. Then I pass is in the reference of my list. So I want to print the first list, I just pass number list and I print there. I can just print by doing a shift return. So I put my cursor on the line that contain my line of code, then I do shift return. It's the same technique that you use on Jupyter Notebook, right? So I can print the list of student information just by doing shift enters, and then I get there. So how to instantiate an empty list? An empty list is just I pass here empty list. So I have it here. Then I can print the empty list and see that inside the empty list there's nothing, right? But I can add some information to my empty list. So list and empty list that happen will add 5 to my empty list. So you can see that I add 5 to my empty list. Now we can also access information because it's just a matter of how we put things in there, but you can also try to access those information. Please, 1 second. We can also try to access those information, sorry. So we can also try to access those piece of information. So for example, if I say list A is a list that I put some information there, I can print my list A. You can see that in list A we have that. But every list have an index. Every element in the list have an index. For example, 3 is at position 0, 6 is at position 1, 8 is at position 2, 9 is position 3, and so on. So if I want to access, let's say 8, we can see that it's position 0, 1, and 2. 8 as position 2. I just say list A of 2, and then it will print 8, right? That's how it works. So I just access the A there. I can, if I do -1, it's going to, I think it's going to print the last element of my list. So it's going to print 7. So if you want to print the last element, you don't care about how many elements you have there. You just put -1 there, you print the last element. Otherwise, for the others, you specify exactly which element you want to print, right? And also I suspect that if you print from certain, let's say I print from 1 to, let's say 3, you can also print something like that. So you can print from going from element at position 1 to element at position 3. So you can see element at position 1 is 0, 1 is here, right? Then at position 3, we have everything up to 8, right? Because element at position 3 is this one, right? But you can see that it stopped at, because normally if it was at position 3, it should print 9, right? But it print the just 8. So basically is 1 is included, 3 is excluded. That's how it works. Now, there are some key methods that are very useful when you want to manipulate lists. For example, list that happen, insert X to my list that extend my list by putting whatever I have there, some numbers. So I'm going to give you the difference between the extend and the append. These two can be very confusing, but what the extend does is it pick everything that is in number list, then throw them into my list, right? That's how it works. I will show you how it works. So the list that insert X at position I. List that removes X from the list. List that pop I, remove the element at position I. If you don't specify this, it's just going to remove the last element from the list. List that clear, remove every element from the list. List that count how many elements are in the list. List that reverse the list. List that copy the list. This is very important. I'm going to show you why. The length of the list give me how many elements you have in the list. So if I just say number list, how many elements in number list, I just say length number list, it's going to print 5 because we have 5 elements in number list. So number list 2 is this list. So this is the list of lists. It's a nested list. So basically you can see that in this list, the element at position 1 is this, at 0, element at position 0 is this, the element at position 1 is this, and the element at position 2 is this, right? So if I run this, then print number list, you can see that number list gave me this. So the length of number list will give me 3 because this is count as one single element. This is count and one as one single element. This is count as one single element. Now let me try something. If I say a number list of 0, what do I get? It's going to give me 3, right? So if I say a number list of 0, because I use the length, it's going to give me this array, right? Let me see. It's going to give me that, right? So basically you can see at position 0, we have this. If I say position 1 or 2, because you go up to position 2, it's going to give me the last element. It's going to give me this. So you can see the difference. But now you can see that from this I can access. So because this print the element at position 2, because the list of lists, if I want to access individual element, let's say 9, now I'm going to put again another bracket here, then put the 1, print that, you see it gave me the 9. So because I first access this, then I access that element, right? That's because this allow me, the first two allow me to access this, then the second one allow me to access that element in that list, right? So that's how it works. Then the append. So look at the append function. If I say list, I give this list B, which is have this information, I print this B, I get that. Now if I say list B that append 8, it's going to add 8 at the end of the list. So you can see that it's going to give me this new list. If I print that, it gives me that new list. You can see that initially you have 0, 3, 5 and 7. Now because I said append 8, you add 8 at the end of the list. Now if I want to insert, use the insert. I want to insert, let's say I want to insert something in between 7 and 9. So 7 is at position 0, 1, 2. So 7 is at position 2. So if I want to insert between 7 and 9, I'm going to insert at position 3. So 0, 1, 2. I'm going to insert at position 3. If I put this 7, insert 3, 8. So I'm going to insert 8 at position 3. Now you can see that now 8 is 7, 8 is in between 5 and 7, right? 0, 1, then 2. Yeah, so I get that. You can see that this is the position. What's the position of 8? Is 3. You can see that 0, 1, 2, 3. That's how it works, right? Good. That's the answer. The extend. The extend, basically what the extend does is, if I say listed extend is going to take this element one by one and add to the other list. But if you use the append, it's just going to take the block and put in the list. You're going to see the difference. So my list B that I have there, so it's just the same list that I have here. So that list holds this information. Basically, I want to add this element in my list. So when I use the extend, you can see that it's going to pick this element and add them one by one in my list, right? Now, if I use a list B that append, it's just going to pick this block, then put at the end. Look what happened. It take the block and just put at the end. You can see that it just pick the block and put the append. So list that insert and list that append both put element, both insert element in the list, but the way they insert is different. The list either extend just and list that append both put element in the list, but the way they do it is different. So the extend basically copy, put element one by one. The append just pick the block and pass it in there. So you can use the append to put one single element, or you can use the append to put the block at the same time. But the extend put element by element from the list that you pass in. So that's what we learn from here. Now you can use some example here where we can use the extend and to do some work. So I instantiate a list of lists here. Again, it's a list of lists, but my goal is to obtain from that list of lists something like this. It depends on what you want to do. As a data scientist or as a programmer, you may want to transform from one type of information to another one. So you want to get something like this. How do I proceed? First, because it's a list, I can iterate through the list by using the for loop. I'm going to make another video on the for loop. You make the for I in length n. In n, you print I. So basically, when I say I in n, is saying that I can occupy this position, then I can be this, and then I can be this, right? I'm going to make another video on that. So when I print that, I do that, you can see that it gave me this information. So when I take the value of this, it print that using the print function. When it takes this value, it print. When it takes this value, it print. So that's how it works. Now, if I want to flatten that and put into one single list, I call it list flatten. Initially, this list is empty. So every time that I see one element in L, I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to take it, then append to my list using this, right? So because list L that append, that extend is going to pick I and then pass into my list, right? Sequentially. So you can see that when I run that, it gave me that. You can see that it picked this line, put there, then this line, put there, this line, take there, because the eyes occupied this position continuously. So that's how it works. The dictionary also, you can use the same strategy on dictionary. The dictionary is very simple. We're going to make another video on dictionary. This is how you create dictionary. So these are the set of key value, the keys, and the value. So the keys are A, B, and 4. You can see one good thing for the dictionary is that you can use to store different type of information. So the key can be anything, right? As well as the value. So that's my dictionary. I can print my dictionary. If I want to access this, for example, I want to access, let me say I want to access this first. I use dictionary of B, right? It gave me that element. If I want to access just this first element, I'm going to use a dictionary of 4. right? The dictionary of 4 is just going to give me that. But I'm going to make another dictionary, because just like a list, you can insert element in the dictionary, you can remove element from the dictionary, but this is not the purpose of this video. So when you say dict of keys, you return the keys of the dictionary, which are A, B, and 4. When you dict of value, you return the value of the dictionary. So I can iterate through the value of the dictionary, then print them just using the for loop like we did here. I can also iterate through the key of the dictionary just using the for loop again, as we did here, right? It's the same as how we iterate through the list. Now, I want to collect the information from my dictionary and store in one single array, what I call flatten above, but I'm just going to call list 2 here. Initially it's empty. I go through my key value, and every time I want to use dict of j to access whatever element I have at this key, then I insert into my list 2 using the extend. So when I do that, then print list 2, you can see that the first list of element that was in the value was this, and it's indeed here, right? Then the second was this, right, which start at 0, indeed here, right, up to 0, and the last one is this, right, which is what I have here. So just this is just how you use the append function. I can use the append function for many purposes. So this is just some example how to use the append function and how useful to know how to use that method. So the pop method is very good. It's also a very good method for list. You can use this to implement a stack. A stack is a type of data structure where you insert at the end and also remove at the end. I'm going to make another video on this type of things, but for now, just focus on how to use the pop function. So when I say list2.pop, remove basically the last element from the list. So when I run that, you can see that it removed the last element, which is in this case is 9, then store in last. When I print last, it gives me 9. When I print list 2, you can see that list 2 is now up to 5 only, so 9 will remove. So if I say list 2 now, let me just copy this things, copy and then paste here. If I say list 2, then pop, and then I put the index 0, for example, it's going to remove 2 from the list. Then no, it's not correct. Yeah, just focus on that. So list2.pop, if I do another list2.pop, it's going to remove, in this case, it's going to remove 5 from the list, then put it put in something if you want to refer that. So that's how the pop function work. But now look at the stack. The stack is a type of data structure, as I said. You insert at the end and you remove at the end. So that means you can use the list that append. If you call, let's say you instantiate a list that you call stack, and that stack is your stack. So basically you can insert from the end using that append, and you can also, or depending on how you want to insert, what type of information you want to insert, you can use the append or the extend. And then you can remove using the pop. You just insert, you say list stack to stack.pop is going to remove the last element from the list, so that implement the removing from the list at the end. Or you can use stack.append or stack.extend, depending on what you are doing, that we insert at the end of the list. So that's how it works. And we call it first in, first out, last in, first out. So and list that clear, just going to clear everything that you have in the list. If I instantiate the list that I call there, then I print that is that clear, then I print L is empty, right? So list that count the occurrence of one particular element in the list. So for example, if I have this list, then say L.count is going to count how many element, how many times M occur in the list. If I say count 0, then I print again, it's just going to give me 2, right? Because 2 appear 2 times in that list. List that copy. I know that very good concept, another very good method for list. So when I have my list here, so this is my list, right? So when I say list 2 equal to list 1, so I'm saying that list 2 and list 1 are referencing the same object in memory. So they both represent the reference of this, right? That means If you modify list 1, it's going to modify list 2 and vice versa. So this is not always a good way of doing. You can choose to copy. I'm going to explain why. So when I do this, when I say list 1, then I say list 2 equal to list 1, I'm saying that they are referencing the same object in memory. If I print list 2, you can see that they have the same information on list 1, right? They both have the same information. So list 2 and list 1 have the same information. Now look at this. If I modify list 2, so basically the element at position 0, I want to change it to 99. So if I say list 2 of 0 equal to 99, you're going to replace the element at position 0 by 99. When I print that, you see that now we have 99 for 6, 7, and 8. Now let me print list 1. You can see that list 1 also have the same information. So I'm modifying list 2, but it also modify list 1. So that's why I put the question mark here. It's not a good way of doing. So the best way is I'm going to start over. I create my list 1, right? Instead of assigning list 2 equal to list 1, I make the copy. So basically I'm saying that I copy this somewhere else in memory. So it's like I'm saying that list 2 equal to something equal to list 2 equal to something like this as well. So I made a copy of that. Now look how it works. If I print list 2, it still have the same information as list 1, right? But the difference is when I modify list 2 by using list 2 equal of 0 equal to 99 again as I did above. So I'm modifying, updating the element. I'm updating the element at position 0 in list 2 by 99. So I'm replacing 2 with 99. So when I do that and print list 2, you can see that now list 2 is 99 for 6, 7, and 8. Let's say we print list 1, you can see that list 1 is still 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8 as was initially. So we make the game. That's why I put 100% here. If you do this, you'll be 100% satisfied. So depending on the task, you may want to know the difference between whether you want to copy, modify the original list, or just work on the second list. So if you want to just modify the second one, just use the copy. But if you want to modify both simultaneously, you can use the assignment that we did. So that's what I have for the list. And please again subscribe to the channel and share with your friend that are interested on this, and so we can continue to grow together. Thank you and see you on the next video.